Right. Hope you're having a good morning today. I don't know if you noticed, but this week, actually on Monday or Sunday, the YouTube channel surpassed 1,000 subscribers, which if you would have asked me when I started doing this if I would ever reach 1,000 subscribers, I would have said absolutely not. You are crazy. But we did, and so I'm very grateful for that, and just a real blessing to be able to provide value to a lot of God's people. I appreciate that. I know that not all of my subscribers like my channel, which is totally fine, but I'm very grateful for the ability to sort of talk to people on that kind of a scale. Now, I know that's a small scale for some people, but for me, it's a big scale, so I'm glad about that. Also had some other people reach out to me talking about how they were sort of on the fence of this social justice thing, and my videos have helped them see social justice for what it is, and I'm very grateful for that as well. And so hopefully that'll continue to happen. I know that a lot of you think my tone is evil and mean and bigoted and blah 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 blah, but the reality is that some people don't think that. In fact, a lot of people that even don't like me recognize that my tone is balanced. And so, hey, listen, everyone has their opinion, that's okay. But anyway, if you are not a Patreon subscriber, which I would appreciate if you decided to support me on Patreon, but anyway, my patrons have purchased me some new books, and I think if you watch my Q&A video, you'll see that. But I got a book about Lemuel Haynes. I got Joel McDermott's book on slavery, which I'm very excited to read. But I also got some intersectionality books. It's a companion series. We got one for parents, this green one, and one for children. Gotta say, I'm not really looking forward to reading these, but I'll tell you what, the artwork in this book is fantastic. I think that the art director and the illustrator should be very proud of themselves. I'm not sure if I'm able to say the same for the content, but whatever. But also, just so you know, I mean, if you do support me on Patreon, I will be reviewing some of these books. I don't know if I'll review all of them, but I think all of them will help with my videos. Also, we're going to be doing more Q&A, so if you have specific questions for me, I'm going to go to my patrons first. I'll probably answer some other questions as well as time goes on, but the patrons will get first dibs. Also, we'll, every month we'll pick a patron, a random patron, to give me either a small book like this or like an article or a video that they specifically want me to respond to. So we're doing that as well. So anyway, appreciate the support. We're also going to probably buy some equipment for the channel so that sound quality is better, video quality is better, editing, things like that. Anyway, I do have a list of books that I'm interested in buying, and one of them is Dr. Eric Mason's book. Now, Dr. Eric Mason blocked me on Twitter, which is one of the stupidest things ever, because blocking someone on Twitter is like, it's so easy to get around it. If I wanted to stalk Dr. Eric Mason's tweets, which I don't, because I haven't even mentioned the guy since his MLK 50 speech, I don't think. Anyway, if I wanted to, I could just easily log out of my account and pull up his account, and it's easy to see. So if you don't log in, Twitter doesn't know you're blocked. It's one of the dumbest things ever, but I can't say that any of the social justice warrior strategy is smart. But anyway, I just wanted to check in on how his book was coming along, and it looks like his book, Woke Church, is coming out in 2 weeks. Check this out. We got the Woke Church. It looks like it might even come with a sticker, like a lion sticker. So I'm looking forward to this book. I'm sure it's going to be a wealth of information. But if you, if you wonder why I'm looking forward to this book, I'm sure there's going to be gems, because Dr. Eric Mason is famous for a lot of pretty nonsensical, borderline racist comments. And so I'm wondering if we'll put that kind of stuff in black and white. If you don't know what I'm talking about, here's an example.
Ready to go, just in case he says the word space, so get my drink on a little bit. And you know what? This is going to be exciting, so let's just run right in. And here's what happened when I did that.
Black power, black bourgeoisie, boom, I'm cool. Evangelicalized, the Boricua, my Dominicanos, and of the functional, orthopraxical, the gospel globetrotter himself, Paul. Triune click that rolls thick. Is tore up from the floor up and around and do the West Coast strut. Multi-ethnicity isn't happening at your church. It's because you have a person that's black on the outside, but Angloid on the inside. But Angloid on the inside. But Angloid on the inside.
Yeah, so anyway, Dr. Eric Mason, he is very woke, and he knows that a guy like me, really just an Angloid on the inside. But anyway, today I wanted to read a paragraph from the kids' version of the Racial Reconciliation Intersectionality book by Dr. Jarvis Williams. All right, well, let's read this. This is a section about colorblindness, and so if you want to indoctrinate your children into learning how to strawman, this book is for you. Your children, listen, your children need a holistic education, and if they're going to be woke, if they're going to be all about racial reconciliation and intersectionality, one of the main lessons you need to teach them is how to strawman people who aren't woke. Now, here's a section on colorblindness. It says this. It says this is the. It has a a definition here, and then it has a little paragraph. Here's the definition: colorblindness, the idea that we should ignore people's ethnic differences. Now, even the definition in itself is a straw man. I don't know anybody who says, you know what we need to do is we need to just ignore ethnic differences. Actually, that's not true. I know one person, Michael Scott from The Office. He is one of those people that says we should ignore ethnic differences. But here's what it says in the here's what it says in the thing. Have you ever heard the word colorblind? Being colorblind. First of all, I can't even imagine reading this to a kid. Oh my goodness. If you really hate your kids, read them this. Have you ever heard the word colorblind? Being colorblind is a medical condition some people have in which they can't see certain colors. But colorblind is a term with two meanings. Besides describing a medical condition, it can also be used to describe an idea about race that some people have. They think that to fight the evil of racism, we should all just pretend not to see the fact that people have different skin colors. They say that we shouldn't acknowledge the fact that we're different and should just treat everyone the same. You know what, let me finish. I'll finish the section. While it's definitely good to treat all people with kindness and respect, that doesn't mean that we should pretend that everyone's skin colors are all the same. People around the world have all sorts of different skin colors, and that's not a bad thing. In fact, it's part of God's design. Instead of pretending that people don't have skin colors or that racism doesn't exist, we need to discuss these things. Colorblindness won't make racism go away, which is why we need to talk about where racism comes from and how it hurts people, and that's why this book exists. So, this is super interesting. Again, I've already said that, except for maybe Michael Scott.
Because I am colorblind.
Most people don't, when they say colorblind, they don't mean just ignore their ethnic differences. We're all the same, right? Nobody really thinks that. Everybody who actually, even colorblind people, to know the difference between a black person and a white person, that are actually like biologically colorblind, because that's not usually how it works. They can still see the darkness and the whiteness. So even colorblind people aren't like that. Everybody sees skin color. Everybody understands that there's differences in ethnicity. But listen to this sentence again, and I want you to hear this. This is what they're trying to get you to teach your kids. It says, they, talking about the colorblind people, They say that we shouldn't acknowledge the fact that we're different and should just treat everyone the same. It's hard to even pull this apart, right? No, they don't say we should not acknowledge differences, right? There are clear cultural differences between Europeans and Asians and Latinos, and there are endless amounts of books and lectures and conferences that talk about contextualizing the scriptures to make sense to Asians, to make sense to to black people, to make sense to Europeans. There is so much material on that. In fact, I attended a Tim Keller lecture series in New York City when I lived there all about contextualization and things like that. Some of it was really good, some of it was really bad. But the point is that this is not a topic that anyone ignores. Nobody ignores this. We all understand that there's cultural differences based on ethnicity. That's a very basic fact, but yet this book is saying that there's all these we needed to write this book because there's all these colorblind people out there that say you shouldn't even acknowledge it. Absolutely ridiculous. And then it says, these evil people, these evil colorblind people also say, get this, we should just treat everyone the same. Are you serious? I mean, we need to tell our kids that that's actually not how it is. We shouldn't just treat everyone the same because they have ethnic differences. See, this is the thing. I said this in one of my very first videos I ever made. The only reason people say colorblind is not because they are actually colorblind and think you shouldn't acknowledge ethnic differences. No, what they're saying is they're using colorblind as a shorthand to say we should treat everybody the same, regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of their race. And that's absolutely true. That's not arguable. We should treat everyone the same. The Bible says that whether it's a foreigner, whether it's a native, whether it's a citizen, or whether it's an alien, it's the same law. And so the same moral law, the same way we treat other people is the same whether you're native or foreign, whether you're alien or citizen. That's the reality. It's the same law. And so the Bible, in that way, is colorblind in the way you treat people. Not to say that there's no ethnic differences, not to say that there aren't things that you want to acknowledge or things like that. But as far as how you treat people, you better not consider race. If you consider, so in other words, if you're deciding in your mind, you know, how am I going to treat this person, and race comes into it, you've got a problem. You've got a problem, because if you say, well, you know, if they're black, I'll treat them this way, or if they're white, I'll treat them this way, or if they're Puerto Rican, I'll treat them this way. If that's how you're doing things, you're in sin. You understand what I'm saying? That's partiality. That's actually breaking the commandment of God. I thought that was pretty obvious, but apparently we need a book to tell kids that those evil colorblind people, that's not going to solve racism. In fact, can you believe it? They say we should just treat everyone the same. Honestly, like, if we can't even agree on that, there's really very little we can agree on. Very little we can agree on. I think, you know, there's other things I wanted to talk about in this book too about reconciliation. There's a section here that says that reconciliation, the restoration of a previously broken relationship between people. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But it's not the restoration of a relationship between two races, because races aren't a thing. People are a thing. So if there's a black person that hates white people, yeah, that they need to be reconciled, but that doesn't mean black people need to be reconciled to white people. Do you see what I'm saying? If there's two people and one's white, one's black, and the white person sins against the black person, those two people need to be reconciled. But that doesn't mean white people in general need to be reconciled to black people in general. That's not how it works. That's not how reconciliation works. But anyway, I thought that would be interesting about the colorblindness, because that sentence is just, let me read it again, because it's just so ridiculous. They say we shouldn't acknowledge the fact that we're different and we should just treat everyone the same. That is the evil wickedness that the woke people are against. They don't think you should treat everyone the same. In fact, that's at the essence of critical theory. That is at the essence of cultural Marxism. The essence of that is not treating people the same. Depending on whether they're oppressed or oppressor, you treat them differently. So different standards of evidence, different standards of justice, different standards of everything apply to the oppressed and the oppressor. That doesn't come from the Bible. Let's get that straight, beloved. That doesn't come from the Bible. That comes from somewhere else. And this kind of garbage honestly, I made a joke earlier, if you hate your kids, you'd read them this boring stuff. Actually, it's not boring at all. And this book is actually, again, look at the illustrations here. This is fantastic. And I would imagine that there's some good stuff in here. But if you hate your kids, tell them that it's wrong to treat people the same based on skin color. If you hate your kids, teach them that kind of stuff. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. Like this video, share this video, subscribe, and if you're willing to support me on Patreon, I will do some more full reviews of these things. I appreciate the support. Hope this was helpful. God bless.